Hi, I'm Mark, and in this video we're going to look at the two most popular electric guitar designs, the Stratocaster and the Les Paul. So in this video I wanted to take a look at the differences between the Fender Stratocaster and the Gibson Les Paul. And the reason why we're looking at these two guitars in particular is because they're the two most common, most popular electric guitar designs that are out there on the market. And there are many cheap versions of both guitars around. Not only that, both guitars have influenced a huge range of other guitars. For instance, here we have an Ibanez RG. This is a Super Strat. And as you can tell, it's a little bit like a Fender Strat. It takes its kind of origins from the Strat, but then borrows some of the features of a Les Paul, like the humbuckers and the frets and things. Or we have guitars like the PRS, which go the other way. Start with a kind of more of a Gibson-y starting point, but then add on things like the cutaways and the body shaping and things which are a little bit more towards Fender. Most guitars take either the Strat or the Les Paul as their starting point and then play with that design from there. So they're the two most influential guitars as far as design is concerned. But the two guitars actually couldn't be more different. So what I'll do is I'll talk you through the actual construction and what makes them so different, and we'll hear some sound clips as well so you can hear the differences between them as well. Starting with the Les Paul, we've got a body of mahogany, mahogany neck which is actually glued in to into the body. So this is a set neck that takes quite a bit of skill and time and effort to get right. We have a maple top which is actually carved, so it's not completely flat. Mahogany, very dense wood, hard to work with. Maple also, both kind of expensive woods. Rosewood fretboard. And the whole point with a Les Paul is that it takes quite a lot of craftsmanship to make this. We have multiple pieces of wood glued together, have to be cut right. Takes a certain level of craftsmanship to get a guitar like this correct. We also have the headstock, which you'll notice is at a slight angle, and that's because that's a separate piece of wood as well. That's also glued into the neck. So that all takes quite a lot of skill, time and effort to make. And originally these were made by individual craftsmen crafting one guitar at a time, which is the complete opposite of the Fender Strat. So the Stratocaster takes a very different approach. Leo Fender, one of his big contributions to guitar design and guitar manufacture, was that he looked at the way other things like cars are produced on a production line, and he designed a guitar that could easily be mass produced on a production line. So what we have is a body, this time made out of alder, which is a much easier wood to work with. We have maple neck, and if you can see this, what we have is the neck is just simply screwed on to the guitar. So no needing to cut it and glue it in and get that all right. This takes less craftsmanship, if you like, in order to get this right. We just simply build the body, build the neck, screw them on. And on a production line, bodies would have been made by one person, neck made by somebody else, and then somebody else screws them together. On this particular example, we've got a rosewood board, and it's a much simpler guitar to assemble. It takes less craftsmanship. There's no hand carving and things like that. Much easier, faster to build, and as I say, can be built on a production line. So what I think we'll do now is we'll go and take a listen to some clean sounds. So I think I'll start with the Strat into a clean amp. So we've got clean channel on the amp, and I'll start by just playing through the neck pickup and then some of the other pickup options. So we've got the bridge and middle position now. And now we'll go take a look at the Les Paul. So, Les Paul, neck position. Okay, and in the middle position. And then in the bridge position. Okay, and maybe some chords. Middle position. And then we'll go back to the Strat for some chords. Okay, and the neck pickup. And now the neck and middle together. Okay, so what else is different about these guitars? Well, we've got the pickups. So in the Stratocaster, you have 3 pickups selected with a 5-way. So you get 5 different pickup combinations. These are single coil pickups. They tend to be slightly quieter than humbuckers. Quieter in terms of they've got less output, so the guitar doesn't itself sound as loud. But being single coils, when you start turn and drive on, they start to give off a little bit of hum. And the whole point of the humbucker is that it bucks the hum, it stops that hum. So let's take a look at the Les Paul. So the Les Paul is fitted with 2 humbuckers. These are essentially, or originally were made by taking 2 single coil pickups and slotting them together. I think there's a little bit more magic to it than that, but essentially that's what it is. And by having the 2 pickups running together, you end up cutting out that hum. But what it does is it gives the pickup a very different tone. And because you've got 2 of them working together, you end up with a louder pickup. So you may have been able to hear in those examples, the Les Paul is just slightly louder, which means on a clean channel of an amp, it's going to sound just a little bit louder. On a dirty channel of an amp, it's going to push the amp harder, so you're going to get more kind of crunchy rock tones. Usually it's just a 3-way selector switch, so you can either have this pickup, that pickup, or both together. So I think the thing to do now is to switch over to the dirty channel of the amp and have a listen to some rock tones. And we'll start with the Les Paul, and we're going to start on the neck position. And then we'll go to the bridge humbucker. And now we'll flip over to the Strat. Okay, and on the Strat, with a kind of crunchy rock tone in the amp, we're going to start on the neck pickup. And now we'll go to the bridge pickup. Okay, so I hope you've been able to hear there's quite a difference between the two guitars. What we'll do now is we'll really crank the gain up, go for an even kind of more dirty rock tone, and see how the two guitars handle that. So what we've done now is we've cranked the gain up on the amp, and what you can probably already start to hear is a bit of noise from these single coils. Strats tend to get very noisy when you really crank the gain up. So we'll start again on the bridge position. And then we'll do something similar with the neck. Okay, and we'll flip over to the Les Paul. So with the Les Paul now, with the bridge position selected, you should notice that there's slightly less hum. That's because we're using humbuckers. So let's hear how it sounds. And we'll go on to the neck position. So as you've heard from the clips, both guitars sound great with clean tones. Stratocasters tend to be preferred by players who want a really clean tone. But then when it comes to those really heavy rock guitar tones, players tend to prefer Les Paul, and particularly the humbuckers. So that's why we end up with guitars like the Ibanez, where we take the Fender style guitar but then put these humbuckers on it so that it can cope with more kind of heavy rock tones. The other thing to talk about with the guitars is the feel. They both feel quite different. The Les Pauls tend to be heavier because of using the mahogany. The Stratocaster tends to be lighter because it's using the alder for the body. The necks feel very different. Fender's style guitars tend to have slightly thinner actual fret wire. That's the actual wire on the fretboard here. Gibson style guitars tend to have heavier, taller frets. Again, so something like the Ibanez has more like the Gibson style fretboard. This has a slightly shorter scale length. That means the distance between the nut and the bridge, which means the strings are slightly shorter, which means that they're slightly looser when they're tuned to pitch than on the Fender. Other slight differences as well. But if you're going out to buy an electric guitar, particularly your first electric guitar, these are the two guitar designs that you're going to see most common. And then you're going to see things like the Ibanez, which are derived, taking its influence from one guitar and applying some of the things like the electrics from the other. Fender style guitars, because of the way they were originally designed to be mass produced, tend to get easier to make cheaper guitars. When you start getting really cheap Les Pauls, they really change the design, so we end up with bolt-on neck rather than set neck. We ended up with a flat body as opposed to this carved top and those kind of things. So generally your Fender style guitars tend to be, you get a slightly better quality guitar at a lower price point, whereas it's very hard to make a good quality Les Paul style guitar at a low price point, so more compromises have to be made. I hope you found this video useful. it's kind of the thing, you know, I wish somebody had told me when I first went out to buy my first electric guitar, because I didn't know what on earth I was going out to buy. They all looked the same and I couldn't tell the difference between them. But with these being the two most common guitar designs, when you buy your first electric guitar, it's going to be one of these designs or something that borrows from both. So that's kind of why it's important to know what the differences are between them. I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you again.
I've never been to Mississippi, never been to Chicago, never been down in the Delta. Sure would like to go. I've never been to New Orleans.